Hey, welcome back. And we have a young lady here from Prince George County. She's a physician, and she's talking about care, essence of strength. You know what I mean? You're talking about healing and things of that nature. She's been on before, and she's fantastic. That's Dr. Jattu Senesie. Did I get it right, Senesie?
You're getting so close, Mr. Brown. It's Jattu Senesie.
Hey, tell me what you've been doing since you left. I know you've been quite busy and everything. You have this program that's coming up in October. Tell us a little bit about it.
So as part of my business, Essence of Strength, I do what I call self-care advocacy and coaching. So I do individual coaching, but I also do small group coaching, and once a month I do something that I call Self-Care Saturday. The clients that I work with most often actually are women in medicine, but I work with all manner of altruistic overachievers, people who have gotten a lot of degrees and certifications in order to be able to help people at the highest level possible. But often those same people have never learned how to properly care for themselves. So with individual and with group coaching, I help them implement strategies that support their personal and professional achievement. So I just had a Self-Care Saturday workshop this past weekend. And
you did?
Yes.
Where was it?
It's in North Bethesda.
No.
And a lounge in North Bethesda. Just have a small group. We come in, we do an assessment of current state of well-being versus desired state of well-being, and come up with actual practical things that can be put into place in order to go from your current state of well-being to your desired state of well-being.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background. A lot of people, they say, how can she do all of that? Just let them know. See, you missed it last time, so here it is again.
So, briefly, I am a board-certified obstetrician gynecologist. I practiced in Montgomery County and Frederick counties for 6 years when I came out of my residency training. I did my medical school and residency at Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta. I moved back here, I practiced for 6 years, and over the course of my time in private practice, I recognized that I was having difficulty designing a life that I really loved, where I could help people and also was able to maintain a sense of well-being at the same time. And so I decided at that time to leave medicine. And in the process of trying to figure out how I could still do work where I'm helping people, because that's something that's dear to my heart, is being able to help other people. In the process of doing that myself, I actually worked with a coach to get clear on, okay, how can I use these skills and these desires and these talents that I have in a way that's of service to other people? And I realized, having come from that background of being what I like to call overeducated and undersatisfied with my life, I could share the tools that I learned to build a life that I love with some of my fellow altruistic overachievers. So that's the short version. There's a whole lot of stuff in the middle, but that's the short version.
Well, tell us about this essence. How did you come up with this essence of health? I mean, give us the reason why you chose something like that.
So I started Essence of Strength because I recognized that a lot of times, especially those of us who have been in school for a really long time, we have spent our entire lives with other people giving us the benchmarks for what is important in our life. We go to school, we get syllabus, they tell us what you need to learn. You go through all the different steps in your life thinking that when you get to the end, your life is going to be exactly as you want it to be.
This is the alpha and omega.
And so that's plan A. And if plan A leads you to the life you want to have, you're golden. However, if perchance plan A does not lead you to a place where you're feeling satisfied and fulfilled with your life, many times we have not developed the skills through all those years of being in school to figure out a plan B. And many times we're so busy working in that plan A life that we don't make the space to develop a plan B.
And expense too involved in there. You know?
Absolutely.
During that time you have to eat. You have to live.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so what I thought would be useful is to help people develop the skills and implement the tools to help them develop a plan B. And for some people, plan B is, like myself, totally different than plan A. For many people, it's just slight adjustments in the lives that they're currently living that make it more enjoyable for them. But so many people are so busy and fatigued and just feel overwhelmed with dealing with their life. Being able to make the space in their life to figure out how to make it better is actually overwhelming for them.
Yes.
That's part of the reason I decided to do the self-care Saturdays, because even just taking that 2 hours out of your day, for many people, they tell me that's the first time they've really sat and thought about themselves, because people are in these healing professions where they're helping other people, thinking about other people. A lot of my clients are moms, so they're taking care of their kids, they're taking care of their families.
It's time.
And so when you think about all of the things to whom you feel responsible, all of the people to whom you feel loyal, a lot of times you just keep falling lower and lower on that totem pole.
Well, that's planning, you know, and a lot of people, they have difficult doing the planning when they have a natural options, you know, before them. So what they usually do, they take the easy way out, say, well, I've done enough of that academic stuff, so I'm going to go out here and make some money. But what do? You analyze the individual to the point that you give them hope.
I'll say I'll spin that slightly. I help people kind of analyze themselves and help reflect on their lives and get clear on what their own personal priorities are. Because again, you've been living your life for so many years, living up to other people's priorities, that sometimes
well, you say other people's priority.
So many times you think that's your priority,
right?
And you haven't really sat back and thought, okay, what is actually important to me? I had a client once who, the very first meeting, she told me this is the first time in her life she spent that much time thinking about what she wants and what works for her. And many times it's because we perceive that as selfish and perceive that as not the right thing to do, especially when you have an altruistic nature and you're always thinking about helping other people. The thought of turning the mirror on yourself and figuring out what works best for you, you perceive as somehow taking away from other people. And what I try to help people see is that if you take care of yourself and if you are functioning at your highest capacity, you're actually better able to take care of all the people that you want to care for.
Well, how do you set up this, like this program that you're going to have in October there? How do you get individuals interested in? You know, that's pretty tough, you know, when a person, in your case, I would say, you know, you're a medical doctor, you know, you've achieved a lot of things, and then you look at a lot of things and you analyze those things and you say, I don't know, I think I can make a contribution a little more. I'm not satisfied with what I achieved. How do you get people thinking that when they already have a situation where they're making money, they're in a nice environment and everything, say, hey, why should I leave this environment? Yeah.
What I find, and that's why I always say that I work with overachievers. Some people find that off-putting. Was like, it's really the best example of the folks that I work with. You always are trying to do something. So a lot of times the people I work with they're physicians, they're PhD researchers, they're doing a lot of things, but they have so many other things that they'd like to do also. And so
they don't have time.
Exactly. And so trying to figure out, okay, how can I fit into my life all these other projects? People want to write books, people want to start different programs, some people want to do a side business in addition to whatever their main thing is. So the very first thing that most people have to do is decide that they are worth the effort. And I make the distinction of deciding that it's worth the effort, because many times you have the knowledge, let's say for folks who want to lose weight and be more healthy.
Right. And
we know that, you know, if you eat better and you exercise, we have the knowledge, so we know theoretically it's worth it, but it's figuring out, okay, what makes it worth it to me? So once people decide it's worth it to me to invest time, talent, and treasure into this, that's the very first step.
Right. And see what happened in myself. I'm analytical chemist, and actually I went into the scientific field, and then I found that communication is is the thing I like better. And I went into the radio, television, and newspaper and things like that, which had nothing to do with my major in college. But those things, I think a person has to have somebody, whisper in the ear or do something to do that, because in most cases like that, your people around you think about it, say, hey, look, you already got 9 degrees. Where are you going over there? That's a lot of problems. You know there's going to be problems in that second choice. How do you get people to accept it, people that are around you,
So I would not so much say trying to get people to accept it as much as you accepting that they might not accept it, because I cannot make you do anything.
Right.
I can't be in control of you. All I can do is control my reaction to you.
You do it, huh?
So kind of going back to that slightly selfish thing is recognizing, getting people to be comfortable within themselves about the decisions that they made in their life, so that they're somewhat impervious to other people's opinions.
Because it's something like you're into the scientific field, and now you're in a different field.
Yes.
And other people, sometimes that's unusual. Usually when they achieve one thing, then they are satisfied themselves, satisfied in that environment. Now, in October, you're going to present. How do you get individuals to think that way? Because our society don't think that way. Once you reach your common goal, well, that's it. I'm a doctor, I'm a chemist, whatever. This is it. And then they have some things that they want to get involved in, but they're afraid to go out and do that because they're going to be criticized by their peers.
It's all about being honest with yourself. It's about seeing the reality of your situation. And if you are perfectly happy with whatever achievements that you have, like I said, plan A worked for you, that's great. It's sometimes difficult to be honest with yourself about the fact that plan A didn't work, or plan A isn't working exactly as you'd like it to be. So I encourage people, just start out, be honest. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's scary, but it's about being honest and recognizing that it's worth it to put forth the effort to have the life that you love.
And some people are afraid to make that step, because of the peers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The peers that originally were involved with, and all of a sudden, just like in your case, you're a medical doctor. Hey, look, socially and financially, you don't have to worry about those two things. So I'm glad to have you back. I'm telling you, this young lady here is a good example. She's from Prince George's County, and she's done a wonderful job. She's involved in this program now, and that's going to be in October. So you look out for that, because you can really get. I want to thank you for being here, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me again, Mr. Brown.
See you again.
Thank you.
This has been Ed Brown. See you next time.